Hello, sports fans. We are ready for NFL picks for week number 16 in the league where they play for pay. And let's get right to it as I am coming off another very good week in the NFL. A lot of crazy finishes, a lot of wild endings. Let's get right into week 16. Pick number 1. Let's go to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field with the Green Bay Packers, a -6.5 against the Minnesota Vikings. If you haven't been to Lambeau Field, get there. You will love it. A lot of history. Great stadium. The fans are tremendous. They're very friendly. It's a very unique venue. It's like in the middle of a community. Very, very unique setting for football. Definitely get to Green Bay. Put it on your bucket list. As far as this game, Green Bay 8-6 beat Chicago. Very strange game. Green Bay was up 27-10 in this game. Bears come rallying back to tie at 27-27, but that Rodgers hits the big bomb late, sets up the game-winning field goal, and Green Bay gets out of Soldier Field with a victory. Green Bay all of a sudden 8-6. They're right there for the wild card. They're right there for the division. Wasn't it just a month ago that they lost 100-10 to Tennessee? They've turned their season completely around. You know at Rodgers, they always have a chance. Green Bay, very hot right now. Minnesota, 7-7, and they were just obliterated at home by the Colts. What is going on with the Vikings? Listen. I know the Vikings have had their issues. They lost their quarterback. We know Bradford isn't that great. They lost Peterson. He just came back. We know the offensive line is a mess. What is with the defense? They were shredded by the Colts at home last week. They were booed off the field. This is a defensive team like the Broncos were last year. The team had to win with their defense playing at a high level. They weren't going to win any other way. The defense had to carry them. Their defense has not been the same since the beginning of the season. Remember the start of the season when they were just mashing teams and beating up teams? What happened to that Viking team? They were 5-0. They are now 7-7, 2-7 in the last 9, and took an absolute beating at home to the Colts and got booed off the field. Terrible performance by the Vikings. Gotta love Green Bay here. Whether you're given the 6.5, whether you move the line in a teaser to pick them, whether you play the game in a money line, I'll use it in a couple combinations. You have to like Green Bay to win. How could you possibly take Minnesota to win this game after what you saw last week and Green Bay being this hot? Green Bay is pick number 1. Pick number 2. Let's go to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Like I said last week, some of the best fans in all of the NFL, where the Kansas City Chiefs are -4 against the Denver Broncos. Denver lost to New England. They fall to 8-6. Denver just cannot score. They just cannot score. The defense plays hard and plays well every week. The offense can't move the ball from here to there. Kansas City down to 10-4, and they just had a horrible loss to Tennessee. Give Tennessee credit, by the way, for hanging in the game, finding a way to win. But Kansas City has to be sick. All that good work they did to catch the Raiders and beat the Raiders and go into first place in that division was all thrown away with this loss. They were up 17-3 in this game and could not put Tennessee away. Kept letting them hang around. Let them hang around. That score sat on 17-3, it felt like, for 2 hours. You even stopped paying attention to the game for a while because you thought it was over. But Kansas City let this game completely slip away. Terrible loss by the Chiefs. Awful loss by the Chiefs. That loss could come back to bite them. That right now the Chiefs are a wild card team because of that loss. That was a bad loss by Kansas City. And enough with coaches calling timeout just when the kicker is kicking that first kick. First kick goes up. It's no good by Tennessee. Andy Reid had called timeout, so he gets another kick, puts it through. All you're doing there is giving the kicker a practice kick. You don't want to call that timeout too late there. You just don't want to do it. You're giving the kicker a practice kick. Sure enough, the first kick was short. He adjusted, made the second kick, and that was an awful loss by the Chiefs. Terrible loss by them. As far as this game, I got to like Kansas City. To rebound at home, I don't like Denver's offense at all. They cannot score. The Chiefs have a good defense. I think Kansas City will shut down Denver. It's a hard-hitting, smash-mouth type of game, but I got to think the Chiefs are not going to lose back-to-back home games. Maybe play this game in a money line. I like the Chiefs. That's pick number 2. Pick number 3. Let's go to the black hole in Oakland, where the Oakland Raiders are -4 against the Indianapolis Colts. Oakland up to 11-3, back into first place as they beat San Diego in a very, very good game. Indianapolis up to 7-7. They beat Minnesota in a rout. Indianapolis is behind Tennessee and Houston by a game. Listen, the Raiders have been good to me all year. I've picked them a lot. I've won with them a lot. I have to go with Oakland here. Indianapolis to me is too up and down. They blow out the Jets. Then they got blown out at home by Houston. Didn't play that well. Then last week they looked great. They're so up and down. And what you get with those teams is 7-7. One good game, one bad game, up and down and all around. The Raiders have been consistent all year. The spread's only 4. I may play this game in a money line also. The Raiders can, with 2 wins, clinch not only the division, but clinch that 2 seed. May even be able to get up to the 1 seed with a couple of breaks, but that's probably unlikely. Raiders, very big game for them. I got to take Oakland here. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4, let's go up to New England, where the New England Patriots are -16 against the New York Jets. New York Jets down to 4-10 as they lost to Miami. The game was close, and then the third quarter started. And the Jets basically said, we're done with this game. Let's start our Christmas shopping, and basically checked out of the game. That's the second time the Jets quit on a home game in the last few weeks. They got blown out by the Colts. They got blown out in the second half here. What an awful job by the New York Jets this year, including the coach. The coach Bowles, I liked. He has done a bad job this year. The Jets are 4-10. That is just pitiful. New England up to 12-2. They're the 1 seed right now. Beat Denver. We know Gronkowski's out. I think New England made a good signing Floyd. He's a good player. If he can stay out of trouble, I think that was a good signing. New England, obviously one of the favorites to get to the Super Bowl. Listen, the Jets are not going to beat New England up in New England. Money line, teaser, straight up, whatever you want to do, you have to pick New England. You cannot take the Jets under any circumstances. You're either taking New England in this game or you're not betting this game. You're certainly not taking the Jets. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5, let's go down to Jacksonville, with the Tennessee Titans are -4.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tennessee up to 8-6. They're tied with Houston for first place. Houston has the tiebreaker right now, but they play in Tennessee the last game of the year. That could decide the whole thing. What a great win by Tennessee over Kansas City. They were down, like I said before, the whole game. It felt like it was 17-3 for 2 hours. They showed a lot of heart. Even when they got it to 17-16 and missed a 2-point conversion, they stopped Kansas City, get the ball back, make some big plays to get in the field goal range. Gritty, impressive win by the Titans. They're a very, very improving team. I didn't think they'd be this good this year. The quarterback is showing me a lot. The offensive line is very good. They're a team to look out for in the future. They could possibly make the playoffs this year. Great win by Tennessee. Jacksonville, well, what else is new with them? 2-12, were leading the whole game against Houston and blew the game at the end. Coach gets fired, and same old Jacksonville. Houston actually, went to their backup quarterback to rally in this game, but Jacksonville will always find a way to lose. Where do you think I'm going here? I cannot trust Jacksonville. This is a huge game for Tennessee. This is a big game for them. I think Tennessee is just better than Jacksonville. I'll take Tennessee. That's pick number 5. Pick number 6. Let's go up to Buffalo, where the Buffalo Bills are -4 against the Miami Dolphins. This is a very interesting game. Buffalo up to 7-7, beat Cleveland, no surprise there. Buffalo, like Indianapolis, up and down and all around. Miami, a very impressive 9-5. They've won 8 of the last 9 after being 1-4. Remember, they were 1-4 and could have been 0-5. They really should have lost to Cleveland. They've won 8 of the last 9 games. They won last week without Tannehill as Moore quarterbacked the team. They beat the Jets. They pulled away in the second half. Miami is doing a spectacular job this year. I never thought at 1-4 Miami would be 9-5. I mean, never thought that. This is a very strange game. If I had to bet this game, I would take Miami and move the line to 10 and play them that way. It's a very, very tough game. You might want to stay away from this game. If I personally was to play it, I'd move the line to 10 and take Miami. A very interesting game there. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7. Another strange game. The New Orleans Saints are -3 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Superdome down in Louisiana with those rowdy fans down there. I love those fans down there in New Orleans, Louisiana. They're great, unbelievable fans. New Orleans up to 6-8, beat Arizona, scored 1,000,000 points. Tampa Bay down to 8-6. They lost a tough game to Dallas. We're down big early, came back and took the lead, but Dallas scored late and won the game. Tampa Bay doing some really, really nice things this year. They're another one of these teams I did not think would be this good. You like the quarterback. They're playing hard. How good is Evans as receiver? He is an amazing receiver. Not too many people talk about him as one of the best receivers in football, but he is. As far as this game, it's kind of like the last game I just talked about, Buffalo-Miami. If I was to play this game, I'd probably take Tampa and move the line to 9, but it's a very, very strange game. Me personally, I'll move the line to 9 and take Tampa Bay there. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. I guess I have to pick this game. Let's go to the dog pound in Cleveland. These fans are great, but they have suffered for so long. They've become apathetic now. San Diego -6 at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland 0-14, lost to Buffalo. San Diego 5-9, lost to Oakland. What's happened to the Chargers? They completely fell apart. They played hard last week, but they've been losing a lot this year. 5-9. That's hard to believe the Chargers are this bad. But I think they're going to win this game. Maybe move this game to pick them and take San Diego. How could you possibly like Cleveland when all they do is get blown out? I don't think they've covered a spread in like the last 2 months. Gotta like the Chargers there. Let's quickly move away from that game. Pick number 9. Let's go to Carolina, where the Atlanta Falcons are -2.5 at the Carolina Panthers. Atlanta up to 9-5. They blew out San Francisco. No surprise there. I actually knew a few people that took San Francisco in that game. I don't get that. We'll see about Jones. Would like to get him back on the field this week. Atlanta, of course, battling for seeding, the division, the whole 9 yards. They're definitely a playoff team. Carolina 6-8 had a nice win against Washington last night. That was surprising. Carolina manhandled Washington last night. What an awful loss by Washington. We'll get to them in a second, but that was an awful loss by the Skins. But a nice win by Carolina. If you didn't know who was fighting for the playoffs last night, you would have thought it was Carolina. They showed all the life last night. Washington showed none. I still don't trust Carolina. And Atlanta's been another team that's been good to me, especially recently. So I'm going to go on Atlanta. If you like Carolina, I can't argue with you. They did play well. It's a short week, though. I think the Falcons are better. They are explosive. Carolina's still got a lot of guys out on defense, although they did play well last night. I'm going to stick with Atlanta. They've been more consistent this year. I'll take Atlanta -2. If you like Carolina, I could not argue with you. Tough game. That's pick number 9. Pick number 10, let's go to Soldier Field in Chicago. Another bucket list trip you must make. Chicago, the great sports city that it is. Great fans there. Some of the great classic teams like the Cubs and the Bulls and the Bears. You got them all in Chicago. Make that trip as well. The Washington Redskins are -3 against the Chicago Bears. Washington down to 7-6-1. They have fallen out of a playoff spot thanks to that just abysmal performance last night on Monday Night Football where they were sleepwalking. That was a big game for Washington. They had been on the road for 3 straight weeks. They come home and put out that effort. That was embarrassing last night. They were sleepwalking on both sides of the ball. They did nothing the whole game. Terrible performance by Washington. Chicago 3-11, lost to Green Bay. Listen, the one thing I'll say positively about Chicago, they have been playing hard. They have not quit. They even rallied back to tie the game last week, but they always find a way to lose. They're like Jacksonville. I have to think Washington, they have to win these last 2 games. I have to think they're going to be embarrassed after last night, and they're going to show some sort of fight and find a way to beat the 3-11 team. You would hope so, right? Washington's got a lot of weapons. They can put up some points. I got to think they're going to show some pride and win this game. I'll take Washington there. That's pick number 10. Pick number 11. Let's go out to Seattle, where the Seattle Seahawks are -8 against the Arizona Cardinals. Seattle, another bunch of great fans. I mean, does it get any louder than where the Seahawks play? I mean, that place is an absolute madhouse. Arizona down to 5-8-1 as they gave up 450 points to New Orleans. Arizona could very well be the most disappointing team in football this year. Seattle up to 9-4-1. They beat the Rams on Thursday Night Football. Listen, Seattle's good at home. I'm going to move this line down to 2 and play it in a teaser. I can't see Arizona, who's terrible on the road, going into Seattle and winning. I mean, has Arizona done anything on the road this year? They've been blown out a bunch. Their season is over. They're showing me nothing. Seahawks have had extra time to prepare. I got to think Seattle will find a way to win. I'll move that line down to 2. That's pick number 11. Pick number 12. Let's go to Steel City in Pittsburgh. This is a Christmas Day game where the Pittsburgh Steelers are -5 against the Baltimore Ravens. Everything's on the line here in this division. This is a huge game between 2 teams that have a long history of going at it. Pittsburgh 9-5 came roaring back to beat Cincinnati. They were down big in this game, finally woke up, took care of the Bengals. Baltimore hung on and beat Philadelphia. They go up to 8-6. Boy, if Baltimore would have blown that game, they would have went to 7-7, and this game would not have as much meaning. Baltimore had to have that game. They almost let that game slip away. They had that game in hand, but Philadelphia came roaring back. Baltimore had to hang on. Philly missed a 2-point conversion at the end. Pittsburgh is always good at home, and I think they're getting hot now. They're up to 9-5. I think they're better than Baltimore. Baltimore handled them when they played in Baltimore. Baltimore beat them up. But I got to think Pittsburgh at home is going to win. Maybe another game, money line, teaser. But if you ask me straight up who's going to win, no points involved, I got to say Pittsburgh at home. I just do. They're a very tough team to beat in the Steel City. It's going to be a hard-hitting, smash-mouth, must-watch game. Everything on the line here. But I think Pittsburgh gets it done. That's pick number 12. Pick number 13. Let's go to the Big D in Dallas with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm -7.5 against the Detroit Lions. Dallas up to 12-2. Beat Tampa Bay in a good football game. The offense got cooking, so we can put those Romo rumors to bed for a week, at least a week. Detroit down to 9-5. Lost to the Giants. I'll tell you what. Detroit better be careful, because if they lose the next 2 games, including next week to Green Bay, they could find themselves going out of the playoffs. Imagine that after the year Detroit has, they don't make the playoffs, and all the people up in Detroit are going, here we go again. Something like that is going to happen. It always does with the Lions. You could see it happening because you could see him losing here and to Green Bay and being out of the playoffs completely. The Lion fans are like, here we go again. I think Dallas is going to win this game. I'm going to move the line to 1.5, play Dallas in a teaser. I played Dallas in a teaser last week. It worked out for me. I'm going to do it again. I think Dallas finds a way to win at home. I like Dallas there. That's pick number 13. And 3 picks I don't think I'm going to pick this week. You got the Rams at home, -4 against the Niners. 2 bad teams. Can't pick that game. If you asked me who I thought was going to win straight up, I'd probably say the Rams. But that's a game you just want to maybe stay away from. I mean, 2 bad teams. Houston at home, -2 against Cincinnati. Houston is 8-6. They beat Jacksonville, but Osweiler is out now. They boot him off the field. They replaced him with Savage. Houston's offense is shaky. You never know what you're getting from them. Cincinnati's another disappointing team. If you ask me again who was going to win, I'd probably say Houston, but probably a game I'm going to stay away from betting. And the Thursday night game, Giants -2 at Philadelphia. Giants 10-4 beat Detroit. Have not allowed a touchdown in 7 quarters. Philly 5-9, lost to Baltimore. Remember when Philly was 3-0 and 5-4? They've fallen apart. I don't love the Thursday night games. I think the play is very sloppy and choppy, and I don't like taking the road teams on Thursday night. I would like the Giants here, but I just don't like those Thursday games. To me, the Thursday game should only be played if the team has a bye the week before or if they play the Thursday before. They need a full week off. To make these teams travel and play on just a couple days is not good. The NFL should do away with these Thursday night games or give the teams that play on Thursday a bye the week before. I would like the Giants here, but I'm going to stay away from this game personally. I can't take Philadelphia. I would go with the Giants if I had a pick, but those 3 games that I just mentioned, I'll probably stay away from. So there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set with your NFL picks for week number 16. Hard to believe we are in week 16 of the NFL season. In a couple weeks, we will be in the playoffs. In about a month, we're going to be in the Super Bowl already. Time is flying by. You guys, happy holidays. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Thanks so much for all the support and the messages. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Take care.